Hello, ladies. Welcome back to Sister Land Investors. Today, we love highlighting incredible women who are changing the game, and today's guest is doing just that. One hive at a time, she took a passion for backyard beekeeping and turned it into a massive collective that empowers landowners and protects our native pollinators. When we think about maximizing our land portfolios, we usually think about heavy machinery, timber, or leasing to cattle. But what if the ultimate secret weapon for our land isn't a tractor, but a tiny wooded powerhouse that makes literally liquid gold? Today, we're sitting down with the woman who completely revolutionized how our ladies look at land, agriculture, and passive partnerships. She is a former corporate marketing executive who traded the corporate boardroom for beekeeping suit. She is trained Texas master beekeeper, a board member of the Houston Beekeepers Association, and the visionary behind a business model so innovative it was featured on the PBS National Series Startup and celebrated by Cadillac's Shaping Houston campaign. She has been raved about in Business Insider for helping local landowners heal the ecosystem while securing massive tax advantages. She is here today to show our sisterhood of land investors exactly how to cash in on this sweet side of real estate. Get your pens ready because we are dropping major gems. Please welcome the founder of B2B Honey Collective, the absolute phenomenal Nicole Buergers. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was quite the introduction. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Tell us, how did you get into this?
Well, I started, like most people, with an interest in beekeeping. I read books and went to classes and just really needed to take the leap into having my own bees. However, I'm not a landowner. I rent. So I was a little shifty on when and how I could actually do this. And my then boyfriend, now husband, bought me a beehive for my birthday. And that's how I got started.
Wow, that's a nice gift.
Yeah, he took me on a scavenger hunt. We went to some beehives on the scavenger hunt, and I was none the wiser at what was waiting for me back at home. And at the end of the day, there was a unassembled beehive in our living room, and he said, "You've been talking about this for years. Get started."
Oh, that's beautiful. A man that supports his lady. I love that.
Yeah. And then, most, beekeepers don't quit their jobs and start a beekeeping company. But I was in the corporate world. I was a marketing manager at a top agency here in Houston. And I was really burnt out with my job. I was unhappy, and I just kept staring out the window, and I wanted to be outside. I wanted to be with the bees. And
Right.
I said, well, I kept meeting people wanting to learn how to do it and wanted more information, and just gone through learning how to do it, and I made a lot of mistakes. So I thought, well, I could teach them what not to do and show them the ropes. And I decided to start kind of like a side hustle type of business where I would just be there to provide information and to consult. It blew into a full-time position almost immediately.
Wow. What do you mean immediately? Like within a year, 2 years?
Oh, within the year, I quickly preferred doing that than doing my main job every day. And I put my notice in and said, well, I'm going to do these bees full time.
That's beautiful.
It was
So,
scary.
so what does it's scary, but that's good that you followed your passion.
Yes,
I think most people get scared to, and I hear it.
I get it.
Working corporate, there's a lot of women that work corporate and they want to do what they're passionate about, and they get scared to do that job. Did you have kids at the time,
No,
or?
no, just a cat.
Good. That's a baby.
Yeah. Just a
Yeah.
cat, and which, can take care of itself pretty well. So I had the flexibility and the freedom. My then boyfriend, now husband, is also an entrepreneur. So he was very helpful in kind of making this transition and advice. And he really, held my hand at the very beginning when I was like, I don't even know how to get started.
Right.
So that was very helpful to have, and I had a crowdfunding campaign that I used to start the business. So I used my knowledge of marketing and catapulted that into starting my own business.
That's beautiful. How long ago was this?
This was in 2016, so 10 years ago.
Oh,
Mhm.
and you don't regret it.
No, not in the slightest. No.
So you said you lease the land. Tell us a little bit about that because that's one of the questions that I have. Our ladies, not all of them have land. They want to get into land investing, but what is it that they need to look for? How much land do you need?
For a beekeeping agricultural exemption, if you are looking to get your taxes, negated because of agriculture with bees, you need between 5 and 20 acres, no more, no less. And that includes any homestead that's subtracted from the acreage, the footprint of the
Okay.
house.
So it is 5 acres because I've seen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
in my neighborhood, I think it's a 1 acre, one of the properties that I've seen, and they have like three big boxes right up front.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the city. I have a small duplex here in Montrose with a tiny backyard.
Okay.
All you
And that's where you keep them?
I did at first until my
Okay.
landlady caught on. Yeah,
Oh, no.
I now keep them at a optician's, a glasses shop. They have a yard that they let me keep their bees in.
Okay. Okay. So minimum 5 acres is ideal.
If you're going for the tax exemption, 5 acres. But if you just want bees, if you have a regular, 1 or half acre place, you really don't need a lot of space to keep bees. You can put them on a rooftop. You can put them on a balcony. You need about a 3 foot by 6 foot space for walking around the beehive,
That's it.
and they will forage in a 3 mile radius around that hive.
Okay. So tell us about the logistics of you got your little box. How big is the little box? What all do the bees need?
So the bees are in, most people have seen a beehive. It looks kind of like a filing cabinet. It's less than 2 feet by 2 feet. It's like 18 inches by 20 inches. So it's about the size of a filing cabinet, and you'll need space to walk around that so you can access it. What's really important is what the ground looks like underneath the hives. If it's going to be mowed, if it's something that people can access easily. If you have a lot of acreage, sometimes having bees far away from a driveway or what have you is problematic because you're transporting back and forth.
So you need easy access to for them to drive in and drive
Yeah,
out to get
because
there.
honey is really heavy.
Okay.
And and beekeeping is heavy lifting. So you'll want to have something that's accessible, and then you'll have to worry about the logistics of if there's grass or dirt or what the actual ground looks like around the hives.
When what's recommended? Like if we do have the land and we have an option to have grass or just dirt, what do the bees like the most?
The bees don't care that much, honestly. They usually, in nature, they're in a tree typically,
Okay.
or some sort of structure like that. So they don't care, but it really will matter with the humans whether there's that they have to mow around the bees. That's a little tricky. Or if they're using like a tractor or something around the bees, that can be a little tricky. So having grass free, something that you don't have to upkeep, something maybe mulched or even rocks or some sort of landscaped area
Right. Uh-huh.
that you don't have to worry about weeds and grass and that sort of thing is preferable but not required.
Most of our investors do want like something passive. And so they have the land. If our ladies want to lease their land to bees or partner up with someone like you that collects the honey, what does the process look like? And who owns the equipment? Who handles the maintenance? And how often are people visiting the property?
Okay, so it will depend on the type of service that you hire. Each beekeeper kind of does it differently. So
Okay.
Typically, there is a beekeeping service that will lease out hives to you for you need them for a minimum of 5 years in order to get the agricultural exemption. So,
Okay.
they will lease out the hives and the equipment to you and will tend to the bees themselves. And they will determine the schedule. It, will depend on where you're located and how many hives there are and, their schedule. But typically a hive is maintained once or twice a month.
Okay.
So, and not in the winter time. So this is really between late February and November is when in Texas when we
Right.
yeah
We don't have a lot of winners, maybe 2 days.
yeah so I usually keep the hive closed up between like Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. I say when the rodeo comes back, that's when it's like warm enough to get back into the hives.
Okay.
So it's after our last freeze, basically, if
Okay.
we get a freeze that year.
And what does the maintenance look like? How long is that?
Well,
They need access to the property and
access to the property. They'll open up the hives, they'll go through the boxes. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes or less per hive. So there is not that much time dedicated to the actual beekeeping. It's more the time it takes to, get to the hives and to gather all the equipment and get what's needed. That's what takes a lot of time for beekeeping is the prep to get into the
the prep.
hives because you never know what you're going to see when you open them up. You might need something special. They might need more room, or they might need less room. So you're assessing their space.
Okay, and let's talk about safety
Mm.
and family peace of mind. A lot of our investors have kids or grandkids or just pets. Is it truly safe for these families to run around these bee boxes and play close proximity to the hives? Or do they need an entirely fenced off area? What do you
I
see?
usually recommend that I'm doing bees in the city, so a lot of people have them in their yards. And I usually recommend no less than 25, 30 feet distance
Okay.
between, say, a pool and the beehives. You don't want a lot of human activity near the hives because that's just going to
Okay.
invite problems.
Okay.
But for the most part, the bees are up and out of your yard. They're not hanging around. They're going out to forage and they're coming back. It's kind of like an airport where the bees are just zooming in and out all day. And they're really not paying a lot of mind to the area right around their homes. A lot of them are just inside the beehive. Two-thirds of them are just inside the beehive working. So
That's so
a lot
interesting.
of the activity takes place inside the hive. So, of course, you don't want a kid climbing on the hive or a goat climbing on the hive.
Right.
You don't want a very curious dog putting its snout into the entrance of the hive every day. That would be problematic. So, if you have what I call a curious dog, one that really likes to eat bees and just snaps at the air every time they see, something flying
A
around,
bee.
and they don't learn that that's dangerous, that is where I suggest a fence. But most animals, they are really intuitive around bees and they don't mess with them. It's,
Yes,
you know,
they do. They tend to stay away
yes,
and let them do their
there
thing.
are some dogs that are just not as bright that may you may have a problem with. Maybe they like to do their business right in front of the hive or what have you. And in those cases, I do suggest a slight, barrier of some sort.
A little fence or something.
Yeah, but it's usually not necessary.
Okay,
Mm,
that's good to know. My parents make her right outside of Houston.
mm,
My dad's been he loves natural honey, like, he doesn't like the one from the store.
mm.
So he'll go out to the farmer's market, get his honey for the month or the week, and just eat that. But he's scared to put a bee box because I told him you could put bee boxes back there. He's scared because of the grandkids. Even though the grandkids are now teens, he's still scared. He's like, "I don't want them to accidentally get bit." Like, you could put it far in a corner and they know to stay away.
It's good to expose kids to insects and, say if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone, and how to behave
Exactly.
around, a bee that's maybe smelling your hair and checking you out and seeing if you're a flower. There's behaviors to be learned around bees and respect. And once
I like
yeah, and once you can involve with the kids, kids love bees for the most part, and
right.
I bring kids out into the beehives all the time.
You
I
do? That's
do.
interesting. I need to go to one of yours. So tell me where you have yours. And I read a little bit on your website that you have that there's a different taste. My sense of taste is not that keen to distinguish. I just, I bought honey out in Brazoria. I bought honey here in Houston. At your company was out at one of our garden parties and you had samples there that we tried, or one of our little farmers market here in River Oaks, and I liked it. It was delicious. It was delicious. But I can't, you said there's a difference between like Memorial,
Mm.
Houston, Montrose. I don't know what areas you have. You could taste it.
Yeah, it's usually pretty notable. Each hive has a unique footprint of the millions of flowers that those bees have visited, and for each 3-mile radius around a hive, 2 hives right next to each other are going to have completely different flavor profiles.
Okay, maybe my taste buds are not that
I,
keen.
I mean, I promise.
Or maybe I had too much coffee that morning. I don't know.
Usually we can A/B test them. We do
Right.
sell, like, neighborhood tour to Houston, packs where you have 4 different neighborhoods, and
Oh,
it's a cool little party trick where you get to try them all and see how they differ. It's usually pretty
I
notable.
love that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how much do these bee boxes charge to lease a piece of 5 acre, 10 acre property? Do
Um,
you know?
no, exactly. I've never leased a beehive. Every time I've set up a relationship with a potential mentee, what I call them,
Mhm.
they own the property, they own the bees, they own the hive, it's theirs. So they've have to either purchase it through me or through themselves. Leasing a hive is usually a monthly fee or a yearly fee, and it's going to be so many $100 for the hives, and usually the maintenance is probably built in there too, depending on what the hives need. There's going to be like a contract with a structure on there. It does cost money. You will have to invest. Beekeeping is very difficult. Beehives aren't, I mean, they're not super expensive, but they're not super cheap either. They're
Mhm.
pieces of agricultural equipment. So they do cost money. My guess is, I would say, maybe $100 a month per beehive, maybe 200, something like that. But what you're going to save in taxes is going to,
Compensate.
outperform. Yeah, it will pay for itself, especially over.
So I had a piece of property that I was selling, and I think it was HEB's, whoever gives the honey to HEB or sells it to HEB.
Hmm.
They needed more land, so they wanted to lease my land, but it was already under contract. I wanted to ask them, and maybe how much just to lease the land, and you ladies go and put everything. Is that a option?
I don't see why not.
Just here's my land. Go put your boxes. Go do everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Have
don't
you?
see why not. If you are getting the tax benefit from it, that would, be good. But if you're just letting them lease the land, I mean, I think a lot of beekeepers, especially in Texas, that they don't always are looking for land. We have plenty of land. They're looking for, someone that maybe needs the tax write off. They're looking for people who are interested in creating, pollinator habitats because
What's needed for the pollinator habitats? That's
yeah,
another question.
yeah, you're not I don't require people to have a garden, but if you are out, especially if you're out in the country, there is less to forage on than in the city, because in the city, there's a lot of landscaping, a lot of gardens, a lot of diversity in that. In the
Okay.
country, it's a lot of monoculture. There's a
Hmm.
lot of time periods where there's nothing in bloom, and
Hmm.
those bees are harder to take care of because maybe they need to be fed. They need to be supported by humans in order to survive instead of supporting themselves. So a lot of beekeepers would prefer if the landowner had, flowers, trees, stuff for the bees to forage on.
Like a garden type.
But again,
Okay.
at least something in the 3-mile radius. Another
Right.
thing is don't want to be using chemicals on your land. That could,
Yes.
I've dealt with that, especially in the city. People have systems. People have, pesticides that they use on their properties, and that can be a problem for your beehive if it gets into something that it shouldn't.
Honey, yeah. How long does it take them to make the honey?
Well, they are making it every day. Sometimes, depending on the season, they can fill a box up in a week. So
Oh,
it
that's
just
quick.
it's quick.
I was thinking you were gonna say months.
It does take months.
Nice.
It does.
But every day they make a little.
Yes,
So
yes.
I know all the benefits about the honey because my dad is obsessed. Anything natural, he's obsessed.
For him.
He has the plants. So he loves. And I hear, especially here in Houston, if you have bad allergies, he's a big proponent. He's like, just take the honey, local honey, and they'll go away. I've never had allergies, maybe because my dad would give us honey for everything, like no sugar, but we would load our cereal or oatmeal with honey.
Nice.
But yeah, he always recommends natural honey for especially allergies. Do you see that as well too? A lot of benefits?
A lot of my customers, that's why they buy what they buy. They swear by it. There isn't like scientific studies behind it because there are so many variables. It's like, where was this honey produced? What is this person allergic to? Like, there are a lot of variables when it comes to that. But people swear by it, and it's why we separate our neighborhoods, is because people want honey from where they live, and we provide that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Nicole. Let me ask you, where can people find your honey if they're here in Houston? Where
Sure.
can they find you and find your honey?
So we're in select stores. There's a list of stores that are on our website, but you can always find us at the farmers market. We're at Urban Harvest Farmers Market. That's in River Oaks. And then we're at Rice Village Farmers Market in Rice Village and Heights Mercantile Farmers Market in the Heights. We also ship and we have free pickup in the city through our website. So you go to B2BHoney.com, however you want to spell that, and you can buy direct there.
And I'll put it, it's B2, the number 2,
Yes.
beehoney.com. I love that. And how far do you ship in case someone in Florida wants to
Oh,
buy?
nationwide. We've shipped to Hawaii. I haven't shipped
Wonderful.
internationally yet, but I would.
Now, this was great. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully one day I'll take dad because he loves
I
that.
was about to
He's been
say,
wanting
how
to do
about
it.
your dad? Let's get him in a suit.
Well, I would like to go and bring the kids, his grandkids, and have him go learn. And yeah, perfect. He loves your honey. He's tried it. So
Excellent.
thank you so much for your
Of
time.
course.
Is there anything else you want to add to this?
I think what you're doing is great. I support the mission, and I hope more women get more land and have a plan for it.
Yeah,
Bees are a great plan.
we need them. I hear they're super important for our ecosystem.
Yeah, they are,
So
and
good job that you're doing all that.
our food supply is dependent on them. So they're a big part of our agricultural system.
Well, thank you. Thank you for keeping them and helping us learn more about this. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.